next going to be talking to Dean. We're going to be talking all about how Dean and Alan are performing a performance. It's a Miranda down memory lane at the Criterion Music Hall in Bluetown. He'll be telling you all about that this evening. But firstly, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, it's lovely to be here with you. Thanks.
I was hoping before we go on to talking about what you're doing in Bluetown, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself firstly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I was born in Medway. I was born in Gillingham, and I've lived in Medway all my life, really. And really from a young age, an interest and a passion in the theatre. As a young boy, I was involved in the Oast House Theatre over in Rainham. And then when I left school, I wanted to take a career in the theatre, but as you can appreciate, it's quite a risky business, and I didn't have all the funding I required to go to drama school. So I joined a financial institution and spent 31 years with them. But in the last couple of years, after I took voluntary redundancy, I've been fortunate enough to be able to work in professional theatre. So I've been involved in the theatre practically all my life through amateur theatre. But it's great, been in the last couple of years, been able to, a real passion that I've had all my life, to be able to put that into the professional world. So it's been great.
Well, Dean, I was hoping you could next tell us all about what you are going to be doing at the Music Hall in Bluetown.
Yeah, we're over at the Criterion Music Hall, which is right in the centre of Bluetown High Street. We're doing a show called Meander Down Memory Lane, and it's a mixture of music and comedy through the last few decades. So Alan Godman, who's appearing in the show with me, will be singing a selection of songs from the sort of the 40s, 50s, 60s and 70s, so all popular tunes the audience will know. Interspersed with that, I'll be performing some comedy routines to lighten the mood a little bit. And I've got a passion, which I'll talk about later, for sort of variety in musical theatre myself. And I'll be doing, within my act, is a tribute to Max Miller. He was a great comedian, sort of from the 40s and 50s. So that will be included in the show as well. It's a beautiful venue, the Bluetown. If you haven't visited there, it's really, I'd encourage you to go across and support that heritage centre here, right here on your own, on your doorstep, because it's amazing what they've done there, converting it from it used to be a music hall back at the turn of the century, and now then it was used for various purposes. The last was a kitchen warehouse, and then in the last few years, They've transformed it into a beautiful theatre, so it's a real pleasure to perform there.
I was hoping you could next tell us a little bit about how you've appeared in 3 music hall seasons at the Criterion Music Hall.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to, as you say, perform there on three occasions. And actually, the last show only finished last Friday, the autumn season of Music Hall. And it's we're talking about the venue just a moment ago, perfect venue for a musical, because that's what the building was originally. The first musical on that site in Bluetown was in 1868, and then during the war in 1917, German bombs made the building derelict, and it's now been rebuilt. So the musicals, and Paul Harris, a local performer and former Radio Kent presenter, has taken over the role of chairman of these musicals, and he's chaired the seasons since it started there. And it really goes back to the roots of musical. Paul acts as the chairman and introduces a variety of acts, and the show we had, which finished last week, we ran for a 6-week season, and a great array of variety, lots of songs to get the audience singing along in a perfect venue, and there's 3 seasons each year. The seasons in the spring, in the summer, and in the autumn as well. And it's it's a really nice venue for that kind of entertainment. You get a cream tea in the interval, so it's a real special afternoon. And the season that's just finished, be back at the Criterion next March for another 6-week season, so that opens on the 10th of March, and it's already tickets are selling fast for that. And this season that's just finished last week was broke all box office records at Bluetown, so it's certainly gaining popularity.
So what else have you been doing then?
So as well as the musical, so that's sort of taken up quite a bit of time over the last 6 weeks. But I also do some stand-up comedy. Last week I was down at the Billermont Club in Rochester performing stand-up comedy there. On the bill as well was Mark Felgate, another very funny comedian. So that's a great opportunity to do some live stand-up. Back in the summer when I was up in Edinburgh, I did some stand-up at the Stand in Edinburgh, which is one of their prestigious comedy venues there. So yeah, it's been a busy few months really, and just this week I'm been directing and will be performing in a musical review at the Oast House Theatre in Rainham, all about the 50s, back to the 50s. So the last few weeks has been pretty hectic.
And I know you next wanted to talk a little bit about how you're going to be performing on the 24th of November.
Yeah, on the 24th, which is 3 weeks' time actually on a Monday evening, I'm performing in London at the Club for Acts and Actors, which is in Bedford Street, which is right in the centre of the West End near Covent Garden. And I should be performing there some of my stand-up comedy for a variety show, and they have a show there each week for members of the CAA. That's sort of through my connections with the club. I'm a member of the club, and also through the British Music Hall Society, which I am a member of and serve on their committee and organise their monthly study groups as well. So that's we use that venue for our meetings and shows as well. So it'd be great to be performing up there. I have performed at the club before, so it'd be great to go back there and do a bit of a comedy in the show. So looking forward to that.
So do you appear in pantomimes as well, Dean?
Yeah, pantomime's been a big part in my sort of theatrical experience, really. So my first panto was back in 1980 at the Oast House Theatre in Rainham, and I've appeared probably in over 25 pantos there. But in the last couple of years, been fortunate enough to perform in professional panto. 2 years ago, I was down at the theatre in Chatham, down at Dickens World, Britannia Theatre. And last year, a great panto season over at the Hazlitt Theatre in Maidstone with Blue Genie Entertainments. And I played, the panto was Dick Whittington, and I played Alderman Fitzwarren and the Sultan as well, so 2 parts. And it was a great show. I appeared there with Jimmy Burton-Isles, who played the Dame, and was with Jimmy as well in the music hall, which we talked about a little while ago. We played together there in the musical, which finished on Friday. So that was a great panto season. Also in the production was Keith Jack, who was a runner-up in the BBC programme Any Dream Will Do, and Kerry Burnell from CBeebies. So that was a great sort of 6-week run over there. And playing to packed houses. So panto, is really important part of my sort of theatrical year, really, and it's it's great fun to be involved in.
Dean, will you be appearing in any pantomimes this year?
Yeah, I'm appearing in. Well, panto starts in January 2015, so just rehearsing now, and that's over at the Oast House Theatre in Rainham, which is the home of the Rainham Theatrical Society, and I'll be playing Dame, back with my false chest on and into frocks, playing Madame Fifi in a production of Beauty and the Beast, a traditional panto, so probably not an ideal or a usual choice for a panto, but this is a great family show. Got all the ingredients of a traditional family pantomime, lots of audience participation and Dame comedy parts, a goodie, a baddie, so plenty of cheering and booing. So yeah, it'd be great to get involved in panto again as a Dame, and that opens on the 9th of January, and we run every Friday and Saturday right through until the end of January. So every Friday night at 8 o'clock, and then on Saturdays we do 3 shows, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the evening, and even on one of the Saturdays we've got a morning show as well, so 4 shows in one day. So that tests the stamina a little bit, but it's great fun, and they're always very, very popular.
So do you give talks as well?
Yeah, I one of my other areas I do is going out to local groups and organisations in the Kent, Surrey, sort of Sussex area, and talk about my passion for theatre, variety and music hall. The talks I've got at the moment that I give are the history of the Royal Variety Performance, and the Victoria Palace Theatre in London, which was the home of the Crazy Gang for many years. So they're sort of two of my talks that I'm going out on the road at the moment. So it was this afternoon, actually, I was down in Housted, their seniors club, talking to them about the Royal Variety performance, and coming over to Sheppey in a short while, the Sheppey Over 55 Club. Giving one of my talks there, and so yeah, it's great because it it keeps that passion. I can share that passion of my theatre with lots of other groups and organisations. So yeah, if you belong to a club or group and you have speakers, I'd be more than happy to come along and talk about some of those topics. Just in the process of writing a new talk as well, all about the stars of variety from the sort of the 40s and 50s. So be sort of covering people such as Arthur Askey and Tommy Trinder, Max Miller, and talking about the impact they had on variety. So it's good. It's good fun.
And then before you go, I was hoping you could just refresh our listeners all about that, when it's happening, and how they can get more information, or of course contact the booking office.
Sure, yeah. So the Meander Down Memory Lane, which is a mixture of music and comedy, is at the Criterion Music Hall on Sunday the 16th of November, and it's an afternoon show, so you haven't got to be worrying about turning out on a cold winter's night. Pop along to the theatre for a great afternoon of entertainment down at the music hall there. And if you haven't been to that venue, it really is a gem of a theatre. To book your tickets are just £10 each. You can telephone the box office on 01795 662 981, or if you're in the area, pop down to the Bluetown Heritage Centre, right in the centre of Bluetown High Street, and you can get your tickets from the delightful staff that are there to help you. And also, it's a really interesting little museum at the centre, and a nice little cafe. You can get a cup of tea and a nice homemade slice of cake. So it's a great venue to visit, and lots of different things going on. But so it'd be a pleasure to go back there again on the 16th of November to perform for hopefully a lot of friends and new people that perhaps haven't been to the theatre before that particular venue, for a great afternoon reminiscing with some fantastic music and comedy.
Well, Dean, I'd like to thank you very much for coming along and telling listeners all about what you're doing and your performance at the Bluetown Heritage Centre.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I hope some of your listeners will come along and see the show. Thanks a lot.
That is Dean talking to us this evening all about the performance he's doing at the Criterion Music Hall, of course, at the Bluetown Heritage Centre on Sunday the 16th of November.